Shabbat Shalom, yes, Shabbat. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to those Akim that's preach the word in all truth and sincerity, along to Israelite foreigner brothers that are like the heathens. But the line of false side goes back to the nation of Israel, which nation of Israel are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans through the prophecies and curses of Deuteronomy 28 chapter and throughout the Bible. So this is brother your call, Ahmad, back another video. And today's video will be entitled, I'll be going to Psalms 124th chapter. And Lord willing, you brothers and you sisters out there be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai. You know, as it is entitled, Praise for Rescue from Enemies. Because we definitely need rescue from our enemies, these heathen nations, beginning on with Esau, Edom, but also from 2/3 of our people, because they're wicked as well too, and Lord willing we get delivered, we're gonna praise Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai, greatly for being rescued from our enemies. But this is Psalms 124:1. It says, a song of degrees of David. It says, if it had not been the Lord Yahweh who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord Yahweh who was on our side when men rose up against us, because we don't need, Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai to be on our side, because, we will need the hedge of protection, because very soon, everybody's going to be against us very soon when our persecution comes in effect, and when you go to Psalms 34:7, it says, an angel of the Lord Yahweh encamp around about them that fear him and deliver them, so this is a hedge of protection, so we will definitely need this. We need it now, and but more than ever, in Jacob's trouble, and also when our persecution come in Jacob's trouble, you know. Um, it says, Psalms 124 and verse 2, it says, if it had not been the Lord Yahweh who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they have swallowed us up quick, meaning devoured us, because if you don't have Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai on your side in these upcoming days of trouble, you will be devoured quickly, you know. And that word swallowed is from the Hebrew word balai. It says to swallow down. It says squandering, figuratively, devour, destroy, So um, it says, so if the Lord is not on our side, then we will be destroyed quickly. It says when their wrath was kindled against us. Because you have a lot of people in the earth that hate us, man. Beginning on with Esau, Edom, they have a great hatred for us. They want to exterminate all of us Israelites. You know, because they want the birthright back. Which the birthright is ultimately, to rule for eternity. The birthright is ultimately the kingdom and living forever and ruling for eternity. That's the kingdom. Ultimately that's the birthright. And that's what they want back, but they're not gonna get it. I'm talking about the least of Esau. Because they already had their chance to rule. You know, really Esau ruled 3 times. The Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, and now America, which America is a reincarnation of the Roman Empire. So Esau had 3 times to rule, and out of all those 3 times of him reigning in the earth, he didn't get it right. He didn't obey Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai. He didn't keep the laws, his commandments. He wanted to do his will. And we see the earth and the people are suffering from the rule of the wicked of Esau. You know, So it says, verse 4 it says, then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our soul. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. And this is talking about, because the scriptures say, and because Esau gonna send his military troops against us, man. And we'll need divine intervention from on high to be able to be defended and get delivered from Esau's military troops. Not only his military troops, but his artificial robots, artificial intelligence robots. The Boston Dynamic type of robots. You know, the scriptures speak about they shall. Uh, they're not gonna spare. They're not gonna spare none. So these military troops and these artificial intelligent robots, they're gonna be killing a lot of Israelites. But this is Isaiah 59:19 says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, which is from the western hemisphere, which is from here in America. It says, and his glory from the rising of the sun, which is the east. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. So that flood or them proud waters, you know, it says in verse 5 that then the proud waters have gone over our soul because they're going to be just like waters rush in very violently. That's how Esau's going to come after us, man. He's going to come after all he have. He going to come with all the power he got against to destroy us, man. But it says the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So, the Lord is going to show his miraculous power, by defending us. Rather, he going to give some of the elect spiritual power or have an angel defend them or just make something happen, a miraculous event happen, to the point when they know it will be from it's a higher power that's doing it, which is Yahweh Shemel Shai. But that word standard is from the Hebrew word nawas, which means to flee, escape, disappear, to take flight. So the Lord can make us disappear. You know, He can make us just like that account with Habakkuk when the angel had teleported Habakkuk unto to Daniel to feed him some soup. You know, uh, it says with the vehemency of the spirit, the angel had teleported Habakkuk to Daniel to feed Daniel some soup. So that teleportation, that was the angel and Habakkuk disappearing, and the Lord can do that for His men, have them disappear. You know, the troops can be seen, brothers, then all of a sudden they just disappeared. You know, so we come to some uh, miraculous events that the Lord's going to show, man. That people to the point where people are going to acknowledge that it's from Yahweh Shemashah, from a higher power. The world's going to be seeing the Lord's miracles because the Lord's going to be showing new miracles in the earth that the world has never seen, man. You see? So, going back to Psalms 124 and verse 6, it says, blessed be the Lord Yahweh who have not given us as a prey to their teeth, because the scriptures speak about we are to pray that departeth not, so right now we're prey, because Esau is a predator. We don't have no power, you know, physical power to defend ourselves because Esau has all the military might, all the power carnally right now. But the power that we do got uh, is knowing the prophecies and the power and believing in Yahweh Shai, which they are afraid of that. They're not afraid of men that can set up militia groups to with guns. They not Esau not afraid of them guys. Esau is afraid of the elect men in the Lord that have power with Yahweh Shai, because they know that the Lord can make things uh, can make things happen out of nothing. You know, because they know all the biblical accounts, they know all the history, they know all that. So they really fear Yahweh Shai first and foremost, and the prophets, the elect. It says, verse 7, it says, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare, which snares a trap of the fowler. A fowler is an individual that catches birds. And ultimately, what Esau's going to try to, catch us, trap us up with, that MOTB. You know, he's going to try to apprehend, which is it is written that some of the elect brethren will have to die of not taking the MOTB. So it is some brother that's going to be in FEMA camps, and they're going to be offer. Esau's going to be trying to offer the elect that's in the FEMA camps with the MOTB, but the elect is not going to take it. They going which going to result in them having their heads beheaded, as it says in Revelation 20:4, of not receiving the MOTB. You know, but their works do follow them, and they will be risen up first on the chairs of Israel. So it's a win-win situation for the elect that are put in these positions. It says, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, the trap is broken, and we are escaped. And this reminds me of that account. That the scripture reminds me of that account what happened to Apostle Peter. When he was in prison, the Lord had sent an angel to um, break Peter out of the prison. You know, and that's what happened. The snare was broken, the trap was broken, the prison gates was open for Peter through an angel, and he was delivered. He escaped. So the Lord can also do that if brothers are put in, if the elect brethren are put in FEMA camps, the Lord can have them escape through an angel. The Lord can do that as well. Again, we don't know how the Lord gonna do it, but we know He said that He was gonna defend His elect, and provide for them, man. But verse 8 says, our help is in the name of the Lord Yahweh, who made heaven and earth. So yeah, so that because we need help, man. We need Yahweh Shemel Shai. You know, no matter how much physical strength you have, you know, your physical strength is not how you're gonna be able to get out through Jacob's trouble. It's gonna be through the mercy and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, which is nothing wrong with to train now to prepare for Jacob's trouble. It's nothing wrong to be strong. It's here to speak about a man glory in his strength. So it's very beneficial to be strong physically, to prepare for the times to come. Because you may have to run and stuff. You may have to, put a person in chokehold, which we know the Lord gonna defend us. But just laying out possible scenarios that you may have to go through in Jacob's trouble. So it will be beneficial to enter into Jacob's trouble, fit and in shape. And that's why brothers is training and working out and stuff to prepare for that day. But we know that's not ultimately. It's gonna be through the power of Yahweh Shemel Shai how we're gonna get through it, through Jacob's trouble. Because He's the one. We can't save ourselves. The Lord can only save us. So we'll definitely need power from on high, man. Because His flesh gets weak. It gets weak. So we definitely need the Lord, man. So, but yeah, I just want to make a quick lesson on that in Psalms the 124th chapter. And Lord willing, I was edified. And till next time, Shalom.